is your scariest true story? This can be paranormal, normal, unexplained, whatever. But given that we're in the Halloween month, the Halloween mega thread just isn't doing it for me. I want to be terrified. Let me have it. True story time. I was about 4 or 5 years old and my parents had just separated. My mom was living in a two-bedroom apartment. I had my own room, but I preferred to sleep in her bed whenever I was staying with her. Our two bedrooms were at the end of a hallway, directly across from each other. Our apartment was on the first floor, and I remember that it was in the middle of the summer, and my mom had a window open her room, which was directly behind the bed, above the headboard. Anyways, I woke up in the middle of the night and remember sitting up and seeing that our cat was sitting in the door frame of my mom's room. Her door was open, and you could partially see into my bedroom. This was strange because our cat was typically always in bed with us. As I was watching him, he walked into my bedroom and meowed. I turned to face my mom and wake her up. In the 3-4 seconds it took her to wake up and ask me what was wrong, we both looked back up in the door frame, and there was a man standing by my open door, making his way out of my bedroom. I still don't know how she managed to do it so quickly, but my mother proceeded to pick me up and literally throw me out of the screen window. Again, we were on the first floor, and it was maybe a 3-foot drop to the ground. She quickly followed, and we were able to start screaming for help, and someone called 911. The police came, but didn't see any signs of forced entry, only that our front door was unlocked, which led them to believe the man must have exited that way. The strange thing was that my mom swore up and down that she had locked the door that night, with the deadbolt and chain lock. About a week later, she was cleaning the kitchen and opened up our water heater closet and found a notebook with names and drawings, as well as a pair of gloves and some gum wrappers. The police were called again, but all they could do was speculate that the man had been in our house and hid until we were asleep. A terrifying, but true story I experienced when I was 12. I moved to my dad's when I was 10 and didn't know anyone in the area except for the family my dad was friends with. Single mom with 3 kids. Luckily, there was a girl a couple of years older than me, 12 at the time I met her, and we got to know each other a little over a couple of years. We weren't close, but ended up having the same friends. One night, my friend Rob was hanging out with her and her younger brother. They happened to be in the house alone because my friend's mom was at work. This is where this gets terrifying and sad. Her mother has been helping this one lady through her work and got to know her fairly well. She found out her sister was in a mental institution and was let out recently. The night Rob is hanging out with my friend, they get a knock on the door. And my friend thought it was just their mom. She knocks a certain way when coming in and answered it without thinking. Rob wasn't supposed to be there, and he took off through the window to his house down the road. He never thought twice about it. It wasn't her mom. It was the sister of the lady her mom was helping. And she figured out through talking to her sister where her family lived and her mom's working schedule. She came in, and this is where is don't know details, and I'm glad I don't. My friend's younger brother got away to the neighbors to call the police. The lady brutally murdered my friend a week before Christmas, decapitated her, and left her body, naked in a bathtub, hit her head. They had to look through the presents, and I don't know where they found it, but they did. I wasn't allowed to go to her funeral. I was sitting in my room after getting out of work on the second floor, little bro's downstairs watching TV, the dog's in the hallway outside my door sleeping. All of a sudden, dog starts making all kinds of racket, jumping around, barking, clacking nails, howling. I go to get up to see what's up, and I hear, "Oh, that's a good girl," in a male voice. It didn't sound like little bro, so I go, "Oh, you're home early," thinking it is my dad's friend, our roomie, as I open the door. Soon as I'm out there, there's no one at all but the dog wagging her tail, staring at the empty end of the hallway. Little bro comes upstairs to yell at me for getting his dog riled up. Said he heard the same voice thinking it was me or our roommate. We did a once-over of the house with my butterfly knife and his BB gun, and there was nobody. Still gives me the spooks to this day. My aunt experienced something similar. She was home alone when she heard someone open the door and walk into the hallway. Since her husband, my uncle, was not supposed to get home in a few hours, she went downstairs to see if someone was there. She did not see anyone, but outside the door, she saw footsteps in the snow leading to the door, but not away from it. This got her nervous, and on a second glance, she saw an unfamiliar pair of shoes in the hallway. She ran up and called the police, and when they came and searched the house, they found a homeless man hiding in a storage room, holding my uncle's shotgun. But luckily, he had not found the ammunition. He was hiding in another place. He was arrested, but according to my aunt, it was the scariest thing she had ever experienced. I posted this last night in the similar Ask Reddit thread. A few years ago, I was home alone at nighttime. I was watching TV in the living room when I heard the doorbell ring. Whenever I hear the doorbell ring, especially when I'm home alone, I'm cautious about answering it. I walk up to the peephole without turning on the porch light so they don't know if anyone is home or not, and look through. It's dark, but I can see a small figure, more like a black blob. IDK, its definite shape, and had to be around 3 to 4 feet, doing a dancing motion, dipping down and oscillating its arms outward. Think of a person moving their arms like wings gracefully. It was dark outside, but this figure was opaque, so I could see this going on. After a few seconds, I stopped looking through the peephole because it was too freaky to look at. I regained some courage and looked back through, and whatever it was gone. To this day, I still don't know what that was, and I get freaked out thinking about it. Just to make you and everyone else more nervous about looking through a peephole, you can totally tell when someone looks through the peephole. You can see the light change, even if the lights are dark inside. The blob knew you were there and wanted to show you the creepy dance of his peephole. My ex-wife had several weird experiences. I'll just relate this one. I was at work one day when she called me out of the blue. We were still married at the time. She usually did not call me during the day because she worked the night shift. She tells me to call my friend Danny and make sure he and his family are okay. When I ask why, she tells me that she had a dream but can't remember it, but that I should call Danny and make sure he's okay. So I call Danny and check in with him. I tell him about my wife's dream. He's mildly amused, but tells me that he and his family are fine and to thank my wife for her concern. I call her back and let her know all is well. She's very dubious when she hears the news. I found out later that within half an hour of my phone call to Danny, he got another call from his uncle in Florida to tell him that Danny's son had hanged himself. Nothing paranormal, but very scary at the time. My oldest brother, now deceased, was almost a human killing machine. He could spot game other people couldn't see. One day, I was out hunting with him, and he used my shoulder as a rest and killed a crow I couldn't even see until it exploded. I do not condone killing crows. He rarely missed. One day, we were out fox hunting in the winter. Fox are very smart animals, and in the winter, you sometimes come across them sleeping on top of hills, probably because the sunshine keeps them warm. We are walking along, and Bro says, "Stop down," in a whisper. About 300 yards away is a fox, all curled up on the top of the hill. So he lies down and prepares to make his shot. Just after he flipped the safety off, a second before pulling the trigger, the fox does a 180 on the snow, still as a ball. It turned out the fox was a fox hat. Some asshole wearing a fox hat decided to drive a snowmobile on somebody else's property, and my brother would have taken his head off if he hadn't moved. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to click on the bell to not miss the release of new videos. And be sure to subscribe. See you soon, my friends.